job at the post office, I think, and there was a very charming woman who was hanging around. And after it was all over, she introduced herself. She was called Claire Skinner, and she said, I'm the executive producer of Doctor Who, and I think we're going to do a 50th anniversary, and it's unthinkable to do it without you. And now that's the sort of talk an actor likes. And she stressed it, it is unthinkable. I said, say that again. I was lusting for praise. And so, because of that, I agreed to do it. Amazingly enough, she disappeared. But she works at the BBC, and at the BBC, people seem to disappear. I don't know where they go. I don't like to cry. Months went by, and then finally this is a script arrived, written by Stephen Moffat, I think. And you know, I did the best I could with it. But I found it very difficult, you know, because I've been away from television now so long, voluntarily. I'm still offered work. But it's very difficult, you know, as an actor. It seems to me, it's very difficult to be schlepping off in one's old age, to be an actor in television or bits in movies, when I am happy at home. Why would I leave paradise to go and play some villainous old man in a film or whatever it is, you know? So I just did it, and the audiences were so generous. And I went actually to the first showing at the Excel Centre in London, where there were 8,000 people in the cinema, and they introduced me, you know, and the wave of affection after all that time that the fans sent towards me, you know, just lifted me, and I forgot my arthritis and nearly dropped my stick. You know. I think really, of course, I'm talking about myself because you're asking about myself, but I think really one of the things most people miss actually are rounds of applause. I think actually domestically, when my wife cooks things for me, even if I don't like it, you know, I often give her a round of applause. Yeah, I do. I often actually clap her when we wake up in the morning. That's a bit much, actually. When I say this, you know, I start clapping and say, wow, oh. Darling, I love you so much. Yeah. Go on.
Neil Hudson would like to know, as an actor, how did you prepare for a character that had to be both familiar to audiences yet unique to your style?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I didn't prepare, you know. I just simply went in there, you know, and did it, and everybody was falling around laughing, and I thought, let's leave it at that. Especially Elizabeth Sladen, who comes from the same city as I do, she absolutely found me interesting and amusing, you know, and she wanted to be with me all the time, not all the time, in the... it was wonderful, yeah. So it just happened, you know. I walked in and everything was good. Costume worked. It didn't matter that the scripts were still being written for John Burke. I just wrenched it my way, you know. I mean, if I do a Bible reading, I just do it in the style of Doctor Who.
Oni, our conchair, has a question. She would like to know, as an actor, what is your favorite and least favorite types of roles to play, and why?
Well, I don't know. In my career, I think I've only had one massive success, which is what we're talking about now, which is Doctor Who, which is worldwide. And now I get mail and loving messages from all over the world. And the other stuff I've done, you know, no one really, you know, like when I tried to play Macbeth, I just couldn't do it. You know? I haven't got that sort of mind. I'm no good at. I can't do violence or tough guys or anything like that, because violence and tough guys don't interest me. They don't interest me because I'm afraid of that. They just don't engage my imagination. You know, I live in a world people think, and they're right probably, I live in cloud cuckoo land. You know, where the good guy wins, and he wins wittily and charmingly, and the casualties are kept to a minimum. You know, and that's my ideal view of my existence. I know it's only idealistic, and people say it's not realistic, Tom. Wickedness does go on. I know that. I've heard about it. And sometimes I read about it all the time. But I'm no good at that, you know. I want to do sweet, gentle, funny things, you know. I want people to be happier, made happy by what I do. So there you are. So that's one thing. That's all I have.
Another question from Arnold Bloomberg. What's been the best part of meeting all your fans over the years?
Well, the best part that it's been for me unvarying. It's been actually full of affection and approval and approval from the fans. You know, from the fans. It is the fans' approval collectively which has created me and into a kind of a world figure. The people who are there tonight, this afternoon, you are there, you're confirming your approval of me, and that makes me terribly happy. Go on.
All right. Angela Monahan again, this just caught my eye here down the page. How many cats do you currently have?
Well, I have 5 cats. I have 2 Burmese cats and 3 Siamese. But they're divided into 2 groups. The Burmese are very close to me and friendly, and one of them is very old. Coco is 18. But the Siamese cats strike me as being very aloof. And they adore my wife, but every time they see me, they do double takes underneath the furniture. But I'm happy to have 2/5 of them. And of course, I have a dog as well, and she really is. She's into worship, you know. She just lies there watching all the time, never takes her eyes ever, not ever. And when I go near the fridge, she can tell whether, in fact, that I'm unwrapping some boiled ham or something, or whether she knows all the stuff. She knows me absolutely inside out, and she waits by the door all day when I'm out. She waits with my wife, and then my wife opens the door and says, "Go and find Tom." And I've got a very long drive in my house, not very long, about 500 or 600 yards, and it's on a curve. And when I beep at the electric gate, she starts running towards me, and I see her coming round the corner, ecstatic to see me. She's totally fulfilled by the sight of me. This is very gratifying. And I think about it when I'm out at work, you know, I think about her. I don't exactly call her up because I think that would be an exaggeration. I think about her, and I'm grateful. I love her. I think I'm improved. My wife did tell me once that getting the dog improved me. I became nicer. And I got the dog. So I said, "Shall we get another dog and double up on the niceness?" There you are.
Another question from our con chair, Oni. Many of our attendees will probably know that in 1999, you wrote a book called The Boy Who Kicked Pigs. Would you consider writing another novel?
I'm not a writer. I mean, I just wrote that when I happened to be free. I tried to reread it recently, but it's absolutely gruesome, isn't it? Gruesome. I mean, that boy. But then I wrote it like that, you see, because you can't really write a book called A Happy Boy. You know, a good boy who loves his mum and does his homework. You know, happiness really. You know, it strikes me that in our our heads, in our imaginations, in reality, we want to have loving neighbors and good children who get their grades at school. And we want to pay our debts and sometimes go to church or whatever it is. That's what we want. We want to be happy and peaceful. But the other side of in the other area of our imagination, in another room of our imagination, we like rape and pillage and murder. And that's why we have love crime films. That's why we have crime novels. Crime novels are probably the biggest sellers. I heard an old lady, a very old lady, asked the other day at the shop. She said, "I'd like a book about murder. Have you got anything about murder?" We've got a lot of books about murder. It's a book shop. She said, "But I mean gruesome murder. I want it really gruesome." And he said, "Yes, we have." And it turns out, this actually, I thought when she was doing this, I couldn't believe her, I thought it was Mother Teresa. But she was a saintly old lady, but she was retreating. We all do that, don't we? We like, in our imaginations, that's not in our real life, to contemplate violence and betrayal. We do. Next question, please.
On that point, there was a theatrical show. Did you get to go see it? And if you did, what was it like?
I didn't go see it, but I sent my wife to see it, and she said it was very interesting, and it got some very good reviews for the reasons I've just told you. That there are large numbers of people who like seeing plays about vile children, but he is so vile, he's so awful, and I really gave it to him at the end. He really got his comeuppance at the end. I really laid that on thick. But it was just an exercise, Yeah, it's still in print, oddly enough. Isn't that strange? It's still in print. I should have called it The Story of a Vile Boy. And then The Boy of Big Pigs. I didn't know what. I didn't know it. And yet it sells very, very well in the Jewish areas of Liverpool.
Seth T. Polanski would like to know, of all the people you've worked with during your tenure as a doctor, who is your favorite to work with and why?
That's a mean question.
Okay, who is someone who was especially nice then?
Well, yeah, they were all nice. I remember, I married one. And curious enough, I had a message. I'm not married to her anymore. But never mind about that. Anyway, she was at a convention, Lara was at a convention, and she was extremely witty and quick, and I'm still very fond of her. But anyway, one of the questions was, rather like the one you just asked me, said, Miss Ward, they said, which was your favorite monster in Doctor Who? She said, Tom Baker.
Charles Martin asks, if asked, would you consider appearing on the current version of Sherlock? And if so, what part would you enjoy playing?
I didn't quite, I lost the sound of it there.
If asked, would you consider appearing on the current version of Sherlock?
You mean Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes. Well, you may not know, but I have played Sherlock Holmes. I played Sherlock Holmes twice, and I was the first actor in the world to play Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty in the same play on stage. That had never been done before. And in this play, it was very well written, very clever. Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty comes back and has the idea, because he's a great genius villain, and he is a master of disguise, and he can do all sorts of evil, and can do great impressions. So the idea was, and there was a very clever scene, he underwent plastic surgery, so that when they took the bandages off and everything, he looked exactly like me. And so obviously we had to rig the scenes in a way that we were not on scene on together. But because it was just Tom Baker playing both parts, and the Irish have got a rare sense of humour, they got a bit confused because of my performances. And I could hear the audience say, is it himself or is it himself? So the plot actually got very tangled and incomprehensible because they didn't know who was saying what. But still in all, it played to packed houses because of Doctor Who. They didn't care whether they understood it or not. They just wanted to see me produce a sonic screwdriver instead of pistol. Also, I was very tender with Watson. Very tender. There was a scene when he actually appeared in full drag. And I pretended I didn't notice. And that got a lot of laughs. Are you hearing me all right?
Yes.
I don't think I don't want. I see Sherlock Holmes actually as essentially a comic figure, and I don't want anything more to do with him really. Although I've read all the stories. Everybody has. Yeah. Go on.
Okay. Well, we're coming towards the end of the time, I think. So I know. We do have a few more questions beforehand. Since we're towards the end, Jeff Carrick would like to know, given you're appearing on your very first Skype interview, it must feel a bit like appearing on the TARDIS view screen. Isn't technology wonderful?
Well, it's one way. It's miraculous. Absolutely miraculous. And I've really mastered this technology so that I can Skype all my enemies. Yes, it is miraculous, and it does feel a bit like all that stuff in the TARDIS, yeah. But go on. Keep going.
Keep going. All right. I'll see how many I can get in. Have you ever beaten K9 at chess?
No, I haven't. But I often see the fellow who did his voice, John Cleese. I often see him, and it brings back tender memories. So I love John Cleese, but I didn't like K9 because when he came in, when it came to a two-shot, I had to get on my knees, which is one of the reasons I've got arthritis now. My knees to K9, because they couldn't get us both in the shot unless I was down there, as if I was saying my prayers. But there you are. No, I never beat him at chess. I didn't really like the job like that. When John Leeson used to rehearse it, he used to play the character, and he used to scamper about the place. And I think really they should have got him a dog skin or something like that. And then I would have been able to do two shots with him, and he could have answered the phone and things like that. It's an amazing dog. But a mechanical dog isn't all that, it's a bit dated. And I miss John. Yeah. I mean, my relationship with my dog, when I'm in the woods every morning at first light, I go down into my woodland, and my dog comes with me, and if it's dry, my cat Jazz, little blue-grey Bernese, she comes with us in the woods as well. And having nothing better to do as I watch them with such pleasure, I often recite little Shakespeare sonnets to my dog. Yeah, that sounds a bit spooky, doesn't it? But I often say to her, because she doesn't quite understand what I'm talking about, lots of people have said that to me, I say, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And her ear goes up. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Somewhere in her little doggy brain, she's catching this Shakespeare lyricism, She isn't, of course, but I'm a master of self-delusion at that time.
William Rickler would like to know, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about working with special effects?
Well, I like I like working with special effects. I really do love them because it's challenging and funny, and it adds to the kind of drama of doing things. Do you remember there was a scene once when I was going to blow up the Daleks? I had these two wires. I said, "Have I the right?" And curiously enough, I was at a Doctor Who do in London with some journalists there, and this scene came up, and so on a big screen, and I sat below it with these two wires, two bits of spaghetti, pretending they were wires. and I when it got to the bit of "Have I the right?", I was saying, I still remember the dialogue, and the two bits of spaghetti came nearer and nearer, and I said, "No, I can't do it." And then I invented the dialogue. I said, "Really, I love the Daleks. I mean, if it was the BBC, I could blow up." That's the spirit I meant it in, see. But the next day, one of the places, the audience began to howl with laughter, and they saw the spirit in which I said this. And the next day in the paper, it said, "Tom Baker has a rant, wants to blow up the BBC." I think they were absolutely shocked, but people tweeted all over the world. He's quite right too, and so do we. But this was a joke. A girl just down there to my left just yawned. There she is. Just yawned. I'm so sorry. Look, I'm trying to be snappy. Go on.
Would like to know, is there any actor, past or present, who you have felt would have been a great choice to play the Doctor?
Oh, I think
Tom Baker.
That's a tricky question. I think actually, I have to remind the fans that out of 12 men going in there, nobody has failed as Doctor Who. Nobody has failed. The audience accepts this transformation. And because nobody has failed, therefore I think that any good actor could easily take it over. The scripts were nice and he played it sympathetic. No one in his right mind would take it over and then, betray, by being violent or by being obscene. There are strict rules. So I think anyone could play it. Anyone can play it. I suppose, in a way, years ago when he was a bit younger, Johnny Depp would have been a very good when he does his big eye, when he does his big take, like that. I don't think he still has. I've given up watching films. But he used to have an enchanting quality that really compelled affection. So yeah, Johnny Depp, yeah. And the guy who was in Sopranos, that great big man in Sopranos, he could play the great master. Amazing master. So ask me another question or two, and then you can.
I think we have time for one last one. This is from Varen Raymond. She says, "Times are changing all around us. We've seen great leaps and bounds in science, communication, human rights, and just about everything else. What words of wisdom do you have for your fans, young and old, about the world around them?"
Beware of old men dropping out words of wisdom. If we had teenagers in the White House and in the British Parliament, we might actually get a better deal, but I have no way. But I have words of thanks. This has been a lovely hour talking to you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm very, very grateful. And probably I won't get to America again. It's been a long time. I won't get to America because I'm old now, but I have marveled. We have